assistant to present the case to the grand jury.
You control your first assistant. Yes, sir.
Can the Pope from Rome supervise you and dictate to you when you were a monk, a priest? By the way, why did you leave the priesthood?
Why did I leave?
Yes.
It's a long story.
Oh, you don't want to answer it.
Well, yes, go ahead.
All I know is you left the priesthood.
You want to listen to this?
No, I don't want to listen to you. Any other questions?
You just asked a question.
Any other?
Yes. Jane Alonso, her sister-in-law, took the evidence home to write a book. Were you aware of that?
No.
Okay. Who gave the evidence to Jane Alonso, your assistant, that, by the way, you sat as second chair to the grand jury, and you were aware of that they had taken the evidence home and spread it all over their house so she could write a book. Her name is Seth Meyer, Jane Alonso's sister-in-law. Okay, and we brought it up to Homer and Jane that was a conflict of interest. They talked to you, and you went ahead and let them, Homer Vasquez, be first chair, Jane Alonso, that had taken the evidence home with her sister-in-law to write a book.
Homer Vasquez is the first assistant president.
Okay, yes. And after we informed you that your assistant, sister-in-law, had taken the evidence home, had it all over her house to write a book, while the grand jury was going on, we came to your office and we told you, Rene, this is wrong, and he continued to have Homer Vasquez and Jane Alonso.
Please don't lie.
That is not lie, sir. That is
during,
fact, and anybody can look it up.
They didn't go during, when the grand jury presented the case, all the evidence was before the grand jury.
I am talking about, are you aware that Seth Meyer had the records at home?
I didn't know who Seth Meyer was.
Jane Alonso's sister.
Well, thank you very much, but I didn't know at the time.
You should have known. You were the district attorney, and we walked in your office and we informed you.
I had about 40 employees at the time that were lawyers.
Sir,
how would I be aware of the...
Sir, it was that one day during the grand jury, we walked in and said, this is a conflict of interest. Your office...
It's not a conflict of interest.
Why did Channel 5 News, Christine Galvan, go in your office and you opened up the files? By the way, it's a tape. It's a tape. She is the one that came and gave me the names of the witnesses that you opened the files to.
No, I mean, if you read the Dallas Morning News, the police department, and possibly the Texas Rangers, had already revealed the whole investigation to the media.
Sir, but
it was in the Dallas Morning News before the case even hit our office. Go read the Dallas Morning News. It's in the Dallas Morning News.
When the family, I'm very familiar with that. When the family, I am familiar with the Dallas Morning News newspaper. When the family was at the grand jury,
hold on, the whole story's
when
there, right?
the family was at the grand jury,
answer the question.
what is
was
that?
a court investigation publicized in the Dallas Morning News.
Some of it, yes. Some of it.
No, the important stuff was in there.
Okay.
So what does that have to do with whether somebody had access to the phone?
But I'm trying to tell you, sir, is this reporter went into your office when you kept denying us that we could not see the evidence. You actually opened up the evidence to Christine Galvan from Channel 5 News, and they taped you while in your office going through the evidence. She was the one that came over and she said, do you want to know who the name of the witnesses that professionally Chief of Police Victor Rodriguez had never told us, Texas Rangers professionally had never told us, and you opened up the files to the reporters. She came and said, do you want to know their names? I got the name of Del Tashney and Joseph O'Brien.
Oh, really?
How
amazing.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll hand it over to you.
Yes, sir.
Do you know why the Sheriff's Department and then the District Attorney chose not to file charges against the fighters in 1960? Were you aware?
I was 15 years old at the time and I read every story in the paper. And I wanted to bring Father up. I wasn't able to hang him because I was 15 years old.
Were you aware that there was an agreement between Father O'Brien and the Sheriff's Department, and there was a name in the Sheriff's Department at the time? What was his name?
You know, Ponce?
By the way, Milo Ponce was one of the original investigators in the case.
And yes,
Tom Wenger.
Tom Wenger.
No.
Was the person that made Father O'Brien told me.
I'm not familiar with this.
Father O'Brien, well, you should have been, since you chose not to go further the case because they didn't charge.
Mr. Teshny, my first assistant was in charge of the case. I can't answer questions.
But sir, you run the DA's office.
Sir,
Rene, is anybody else that would like to talk beside them?
No, because they want to confront me, they want to make a new splash, and they want to see if Ricardo Rodriguez, who's not here to defend himself, who can't debate, become the DA.
We're sitting there hogging the whole conversation.
Yeah, well,
You got nothing to say with this. You got this many people waiting to talk.
anybody wants to ask a question?
Hold on a second. Let me make a statement for the benefit of the news. Let me make a statement for the benefit of the news media. Father O'Brien was in ill health when the police chief and the rangers took him from the retirement home over to ranger headquarters. They chose not to interrogate him at the retirement home. They took him to ranger headquarters, where they had hit their way with him from about 9:30 in the morning through about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. During the tape recording of Father O'Brien, I'm sorry, kept mistaking that other dummy.
Don't be disrespectful.
Look, if you say Father Fight is a killer, I don't share any respect for it. But anyway, they interviewed him for all those hours, and they got him to say anything they wanted him to say. Chief Rodriguez and Investigator Trevino walked out of the interrogation in the middle of the most important interrogations they would conduct. They chose to walk out, and they left Father O'Brien alone with the Texas Ranger in the DPS headquarters or the Ranger headquarters in San Antonio. Why these two investigators would walk out of one of the most important interrogations in their lives, I don't know.
Maybe for a break?
No, they left. They left. No, you don't know this because you don't know the details of the case. Now, I know you're blinded by the fact that you want Rene Garza's killer to go to court. If I was blinded, and I would follow everything that the police would do and say, I would be in court without one credible witness that would be able to convict. He's not a credible witness. That would be able, There's a tape recording where he calls Rudy Jaramillo, a Texas Ranger, and in that statement, he can tell you for himself. It says, he's here. I want to tell you what it says. He's looking for a dead body in San Antonio. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for a dead body that was found by a river in San Antonio. And by the way, Tashley was in Rome in 1960. He got back to the United States in 1963. So through rumor of a priest in his midst killing somebody, later on, many years later, he steps forward to want to have a priest prosecuted for capital murder with 50-year-old evidence.
Now let him talk.
I don't have any other statements. I don't want Tashley to talk.
Why not?
Because he doesn't have anything credible to say. And that's not something that we can use in court. Under the rules of the evidence. Yes,
Mr. Guerra, I have to ask you, with the light of almost $1 million being spent against you, what do you feel is the reason that your opponent didn't show up today?
He hasn't been able to answer all the questions in 11 debates.
What do you think is one of the key questions that he does not want to answer?
Well, he can give any specifics on anything he stands for. He's lied about me. He's lied about his campaign. He lied about his father hiring the politiqueros in Dana. He hired him there in Dana at a meeting with other politiqueros and a go-between, Mr. Bucha Uceda at a restaurant in Dana. Later on, he claimed that his dad was the one who hired him to put up signs, and then he said, no, they could do good work. Now, if you look at all the lies that have been answered in the debates and the things that he's misstated, I can point you when he says, I established a program what did he say? I instituted programs as a compassionate judge. He didn't institute one program as a judge. The programs that we instituted were through my discretion and some of the judges on pretrial diversion programs for repeat offenders that needed drug treatment and alcohol abuse treatment. It was my discretion that was exercised. It wasn't the judges. When you say I instituted, it's a lawyer and it's a former judge. That's a lie. Now the other thing that he did, he ran for district judge. He told the people that he was running for district judge, got elected in 2012. In January of 2013, he had a fundraiser for judge in his uncle's golf course in Edinburgh. He raised about $89,000. Then he turned and spent that money in the DA campaign, which is a violation of the election law. Now, he also took...
Is that investigated?
No, it's not criminal. I'm not going to investigate it. But you can ask him if he can answer that question. Then later on, in that fundraiser, he sent out a flyer. It's for the judgeship. But it wasn't for the judgeship. It was to fund his campaign for DA. Now you ask him about that ethics and the integrity and the transparency that he wants to prophecy of his, or he's prophesizing or stating in his camera interview on the commercials. He also says, he puts in there that Rene Guerra conducted his process an illegal election. When he's talking about a case that was in his court, that I believe he gave to Judge Rene Guerra to handle on the election contest out of Precinct 3, where I thought that the election should be conducted fair and square, where both candidates would be on the ballot, but the Supreme Court ruled that only Commissioner Quintanilla, who later became commissioner, would be on the ballot, because the law was interpreted wrongly by me, and I tried to get citizens in Precinct 3 to elect their commissioner, but the ones who got elected, who nominated him, were the precinct chairman, about 8 in that precinct. They nominated Joel Quintanilla. He appeared on the ballot, and A.C. Cuellar had to go on a writing campaign and almost beat him on a writing campaign. Now, he uses that statement by the Secretary of State to almost advertise that I conducted an illegal election. That's deceptive advertising in his commercial. Look at his commercial. He also says, my plan will be for more transparency, more accountability, because we don't take an oath that says, trust us. We take an oath that seeks justice. I don't know someone who's saying that, because he doesn't believe in this. Now, when he had a young lady arrested, not him directly, but gave an order that should have given a child support custody case, where she was arrested in Austin for 10 days, and then he comes out here with this garbage in his commercial. I don't know that you want to trust that kind of person to be a district attorney. Now, I speak on the facts. These people are attacking me because he wasn't allowed to appear before the grand jury. What he doesn't understand is that the grand jury has a right not to hear witnesses. Of course, they're going to say, no, Mr. Guerra, your first assistant and Gina Alonso told the grand jury not to bring any witnesses. You have 12 citizens of the community who are there to hear evidence, and they chose not to hear no more witnesses and any more evidence because my assistant, my first assistant, presented his tape recording where the ranger gave him more information than he got out of the ranger. And that's bad interrogation. He got the cause of death asphyxiation. He got the canal in McAllen. That's recorded, President. That's recorded. That's recorded. No. Any other questions?
We have run out of time for use of the room, sir. Thank you, boss. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate your efforts.
We have to clear the room now. Thank you.
Rene, you sure did a fine job.